Hello again, Jonathan Toyad here with another edition of Untitled KKP Show, another review. We've got another review right here with us. And this one is Octopath Traveler 0. So you've known me as a guy who likes his Final Fantasy and JRPGs. I love the first Octopath Traveler, although I felt that the story, after completing everything, that the last plot that ties everything together just feels like it's an afterthought more than part of the main core game. Octopath Traveler 2 fixed all of that, made it a much better title and experience. So to hear Octopath Traveler 0 announced, to hear that announced in one of the, I think it was last year, I believe, I forgot. And then hearing that is actually using parts of the mobile game Octopath Champions of the Continent, like here and there. So at first glance, after playing it for a bit, I played I played about 30 plus hours of this title. I'm still not done with it yet, but I think I'm safe enough to actually give my opinion on it, at least from my experience. If anything changes halfway through in the storyline and everything, then maybe I can change my score, but for now I'm just going to talk to you about my experiences with the game and everything. It plays like a typical JRPG. You've got but instead of like 4 or 3 party members, you have 8. You have 8 in the same screen. They'll be at the back row, and then you can tag team basically. So I guess this theme for this week is tag team gaming. First I talked about Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which you can check on our website. You can check on our YouTube channel and website, the reviews for that. And now we've got Octopath Traveler 0. So the story starts off with your village got burned down by evil people, and you need to hunt them down, and as well as restore the village to its right to become what it was back in the day. So you have to recruit people from outside different continents. This is actually a prequel to Part 1 and Part 2, so you get to see old areas here and there from the first game. In fact, the game actually reuses a lot of the old Part 1 soundtrack. And you actually get to bump into the cast of Part 1, like Primrose and Therion and whatnot. Ophelia. I keep mixing her name with the princess from Final Fantasy Tactics. So this title has a village building mechanic to go along with the JRPGing. So as you're building your village, you have a really awesome carpenter called Stia. She makes stuff real good. She just tells you, oh, just get the materials and I'll handle the rest. And then you build the stuff and you progress the story of that part, while you also progress the story of the main continent, where you're just fighting the ring bearers. So you get this ring, the flame bearer, and then you gotta deal with the people who burned down your village, 3 noble people, and get your rings. And then once that part is done, you actually have more stuff to actually go forward with. And it turns out there's actually a big conspiracy happening within the continent, and then you gotta solve that, and it all involves the flame bearer ring that you have. Without going through spoilers, both stories feel a bit disjointed, but then again, the whole ring bearer story is from the mobile game itself, and they're just trying to adapt it in console form. But they make it up by making more content, so more storylines, more side stuff, this village building sim aspect. It feels a bit more packed. It does feel like a Frankenstein's Monsters project from Square Enix's side, the HD 2D group. But at the same time, it's also like a new game in a sense too, because of all the old assets, you're making a new title. Kind of like Elden Ring Night Rain, basically. Except Night Rain is more of a co-op element. This one is more of it's just trying to be its own single-player JRPG experience, except from the remnants of the mobile game. So is it really fun and good? Yeah, if you like Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, but want more gameplay than story out of it, because the story is disjointed in parts here and there, and it definitely feels typical. I mean, you can actually telegraph and see enemies coming and betrayals coming a mile away. If this is your 3rd or 4th or 5th JRPG, you're not gonna find surprises here. And unlike Part 2, there's a little less heart in this one because of the disjointedness of it all. I actually prefer the village building story characters more than the new characters I meet in the Ring arc. So again, story is not taking center stage here. In fact, I actually skipped a couple of scenes just to get through parts, and I didn't feel like I'm missing much, honestly. I mean, I can tell that, oh, okay, this guy did something bad. I kind of could tell because of the way they posture and then the way they introduce characters here and there. And the way when they talk about, oh, it's nice to be with you, you know some characters are gonna die. You can actually just see that coming a mile away. If it's your first JRPG experience, yes, you'll be wowed. But again, if you played Dragon Quest, you played Final Fantasy, you played any of the previous Octopath Traveler games, the story is the weakest point here. But I believe Octopath Traveler Zero's crux is the village building and the combat and the leveling up, and that does not disappoint because you have a lot of customizable options for your characters. So once you get through, like, I guess 10-12 hour hurdle, you've already got a full party by then, and then you get to use those characters, mix and match. You can actually have like half your characters as warriors, scholars, and then the other half are healers, alchemists and priests, and they have like different weaponry and different equipment styles and whatnot, and you get to give them like learned skills, and they have their spiritual skills and they have learned skills. Learned skills are stuff you find throughout the map. You actually get them through shopkeepers or barter with them or just steal from them. Well, more like and sure, there is a word for that. It's not stealing, it's a different mechanic, but you get stuff for free. But your success chances has to be high, otherwise the village will start hating you and stuff, and you gotta restore your reputation. Like in the previous title. So you can entreat. You can entreat characters, you can haggle with them, or you can just beat them up and then get this stuff. But that requires you to beat them in actual combat. So like the past two games, combat deals with the defense and the bursting system. So as you keep attacking enemies, as turns pass, you get more and more turns, and you get to actually use up to 3 power-up turns bursts. You get to actually charge up your bursts, and then you get to, you know, accumulate enough bursts to power up any of your attacks or just attack multiple times. Enemies have weaknesses you gotta destroy, you gotta actually hit the weaknesses to break them, and then when you break them, they're stunned for 1 round or 2 if you're clever about it. And attack and then basically attack them and deal more damage. Now the problem with this, I mean, the mechanics great and all, and some fights and most fights in part 1 and part 2 are a bit more puzzle-like. You got to actually create the perfect party to defeat most enemies. But in this case, you can actually tank up your party to become really, really powerful, to just basically make the opposition dead or just invalid. I think the Octopath Traveler 0 is the game handing you the keys. Alright, go work your ass off and level up your characters in different areas and find as many party members to, you know, break as much, and then you can actually just make most fights trivial. So basically, if you are basically 2 levels higher than the enemies you fight, than the challenge level, and if you are smart in making your build really good, like stuff you've done in part 2 and part 1, you can make this game a walking breeze. So obviously the optional challenges of this game are tougher than the story challenges. Like, most fights can be done by basically just breaking enemies, and then when you see the boss actually about to do a heavy attack where he or she will be last on the turn order in the next turn initiative, that's when you start breaking them for real. So you gotta, and also, you know, tailor your party to the boss you're fighting. So it's good that the game actually gives you a checkpoint, you know, before every fight, so you can actually tweak your party how you see fit. So again, this is a game where basically gameplay takes precedence. A JRPG gameplay and Octopath Traveler breaking takes precedence, and I do feel the story suffers for it, but then again, we've actually got a really good Octopath Traveler 2 in terms of story. Part 2 has the best story, so maybe Octopath Traveler 0 is the game that is in between whatever new project Acquire and the HD2D team are doing. I will need to look at who actually created this, hold on. Oh, okay, the developers are Doki Doki Groove, so change all instances of what I said about Acquire to Doki Doki Groove. Square Enix and this group are taking pieces of Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 and making a brand new, semi-new kind of game and story out of it. Mechanics are great and all, and gameplay takes precedence, although I do feel JRPG story and gameplay need to go hand in hand, and I feel that the story parts of this game is a bit more taking a backseat per se. But again, it is really fun to play through the game for 30 hours to make your own uber killer party with 8 characters, no doubt. So really, really cool stuff right there. I'm gonna play this more and more. My initial thoughts after 30 hours is definitely 70 out of 100. I might change it. It's closer to a 60. But if I probably play it more and more and maybe get a good payoff out of it, then sure, maybe I'll give it a higher score. But for now, 70 out of 100 seems pretty fair. If you're more into the whole gameplay side of things and you just want to tank into the game, becoming a powerhouse of a character, and that's all that matters to you, you can add in another 10 to this score. It gives you all the tools. It gives you all the gameplay mechanics. It gives you all the skills you can buy and acquire, and the village building aspect that actually gets you more people and party members and more power-ups as well. Really cool that part at least goes hand to hand, and seeing the story unfold in the village is kind of cute as well. It's more fluff and wholesome, but not really heartfelt and, you know, integral to the entire Octopath Traveler 0 experience. Like I said before, you could actually just skip some scenes in the story and you're not gonna miss a beat, honestly. But all in all, I still had fun with it, and I'm gonna continue playing the game more and more after this review, and even after the embargo lifts and after the game is out. I'm still gonna, you know, go through it here and there. That's about it. So minimum 30-40 hours to get through most of your enjoyment out of it. I still recommend this if you are hard up for like a new, quote-unquote, new Octopath Traveler experience. But for those who are already tapped out after part 2, after maxing out the stuff you've done in part 2, you can probably skip this one unless you really, really, really want another Octopath Traveler 0 experience and don't mind paying a little extra for it. And that's it from my side. Thanks again for joining into this podcast and everything. If you want more content like this, do check out our website. Check out our YouTube page, Kakuchopurei. Thanks again for supporting us. 150k plus views. Thanks again for supporting us. Do subscribe to us. We got a little ding dong button at the bottom. And we're going to have more game reviews and premonitions and news and stuff coming out in December. So thanks again. Hopefully you guys can stick around. Thanks again for the support, and see you then. Bye-bye.